Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to take you behind the scenes at the Colored Pencil Society of America's trade show, where I was hired to demonstrate for Derwent. We are going to take a kind of pan of my booth, a pan of the show, and then I will do a flip through of the artwork that I brought with me and that I did at the show, so you can have a closer look at that, because I had some people asking on Instagram for that. So I'm doing a voiceover because I tried talking while I filmed it, but it was just way too loud. Here you can see my booth. This is towards the end of the day. You can see where people have sampled on the little papers there. I took a break, I took the advantage of the lull in the crowd to film my booth really quick. So it's not as pristine as it was at the beginning of the day, but you can see my samples that I did for the show in the products I was demonstrating. So I was demonstrating the 24 set of graphic pencils and the Derwent drawing pencils. I was demonstrating the Chroma Flow pencils, which is demonstrated there. And there's another demo with the drawing pencils back there. I actually sketched out the hands on the ride down, and then I was working on them there at the show. I put all the pencils in a caddy so people could easily reach up, grab a pencil they want to try, and swatch it on the different colors of paper to test opacity and see how they feel. And I brought some Derwent blender pens because I used that on the Chroma Flow demo of the fruit. And in that binder is basically artwork I've done over the years with Derwent products, and that way people could see how the different products, not just the ones that I was demonstrating there, but how the other Derwent products looked as well. And most of these illustrations have videos, not those two, but most of them have videos on my YouTube channel or on the Michael's channel from our live streams. So people could learn more if they wanted to look those up online. I thought that would be a good way to just kind of give people a little more context about the whole Derwent line of products. And I brought color charts with Lightfast ratings. So if people were curious about that, especially with the ColorSoft range that I was demoing, there's so many colors there, they would have that information to inform them of their purchases. Now, Derwent had probably the largest display on the area where you could buy. This was sponsored by Blick, and Blick brought in all the merchandise from their DC store, I believe. So you can see they had a lot of Chroma Flows, they had ink tints, they had Lightfast, drawing, graphic, some water brushes, electric erasers, a really good assortment of things there. They had the largest, I would say, section here at the trade show. Then there was a lot of papers available from Strathmore, which was nice. Now, like I said, this is towards the end, so it's probably looking a little bit disheveled, but they kept it restocked and pretty tidy, and they had Blick employees on the inside of these tables that were formed in a square that could help people. I wish things were priced a little bit more clearly. There was some papers that had prices on them, but not everything had a price, which was a little frustrating since I could just kind of pop over here really quick to do a little filming when my booth wasn't busy. But man, I was pretty much right out straight all day. This was like right at the end, and this paper looked so pretty. I almost bought it. I've never tried Rembrandt paper before, so I didn't know if I wanted a 50 sheet pack of it on the first go. But it is Verona green, so it's all this beautiful like kind of ivy green color. So I was looking at it for a while, but I didn't end up buying it because I'm pretty sure I have a pack of Cancer-Mitants in Ivy, and I really should use that up before I go looking at other papers. But they did have a nice arrangement of different types of pastel and mixed media papers and drawing papers for people to choose, and I thought that was nice. It's nice to be able to buy stuff at a trade show when you're all inspired to use it. So they ran classes a couple days before this. I didn't get in town early enough to do those classes, but I think if I was to do it again, I would come early and avail myself to some of those classes. They had some Caran d'Ache products here. They also had a Caran d'Ache booth, and they had a Faber-Castell booth, and they had a General's booth. And this is what General's had, you know, the brush soap, your basics, your brush soap, your stain removers. They had these little pencil point protectors, and that was $3.50. I thought that was kind of a neat idea because I'd seen them from Blackwing before, and they're so expensive from Blackwing because they're metal. But then I was thinking I could just save ballpoint pen caps, and Karen had the idea to save the collars that come on your brushes when you buy art brushes, and you could put those on your pencils if you don't want them to break in your bag, if you don't want the tips to break. So I'm like, hey, that saved me $3.50. But it's nice to see stuff, and I think pick things up with your own hands and you know, grab them. And there was the Faber-Castell section. They didn't have a ton. They had a few sets of Holbein because it was a Blick trade show, and Blick is the, I think, solo distributor for Holbein in the country. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. And then they had the Mega pencils by Create-A-Color. I've been really curious about them, but I haven't pulled the trigger on a set because what if I don't like them? You know, I don't want to have a big set of something I don't like. We have Rembrandt pastels, which is nice to do like a pastel underpainting and then do pencils on top. We had a Blick sketchbook and the Art Creation sketchbook. So a little bit of everything. It was a nice selection. It wasn't a huge trade show, but it was really fun to see what they had. And I did take some vertical video earlier on in the day before the show opened, so I just wanted to pop these up just so you can kind of get a better look at the fully stocked shelves. And yeah, it was a lot, but it wasn't overwhelming, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on not being able to see the trade show either, because I could walk around this point of sale area in the center, see what there was to see, and then skedaddle over to my booth and do my work. So with that, I'm going to show you what I brought and what I did for artwork at the show. At the show, I was to demonstrate 3 different products: the Derwent drawing pencils, which are, you all know these, and these are brand new sets because they sent me these to demo at the show. My personal sets have gotten short, so that way they look nice and fresh, and people could try these out as we went, which is really nice. The Graphic 24 set, they have the largest range of graphite pencils going all the way up to 13B, which is really great. And I'll show you some work I did with that. I only had the 12 set, so this was nice to be able to play with that full set. And then the Derwent Chroma Flow set of 150. I had the 72 set. I honestly use a 24 set, probably more than any other size set of these, but they sent the 150 set so people could try everything. And then for the show, I prepared a few drawings to kind of refresh my memory, make sure I was really up to snuff on demonstrating these products. And they also sent me the drawing and sketching paper, which I hadn't used before. So this is what I did with the graphic set, just so you can see the range. These are with the same amount of pressure, so you can see what you naturally get for a line. And these were really fun to sketch. And then in the car on the way, I did this, and I used like 2 shades of each of the Derwent drawing pencils just to do a few like kind of tone-on-tone faces in different colors. I find that's a really great way to bust out of a creative rut, or you know, just kind of try something different, especially if you feel challenged by the subject. Sometimes drawing it in a different color than you usually use can be extremely helpful. And also I think it's very flattering. And I took some Dramamine so I'd be able to draw it on the car ride down, because it was an 11-hour drive. So it was no joke. We did take a break halfway down in New Jersey, well, a little more than halfway down, and we went to Blick on the ride down. You're going to see, actually I have no footage from that because they didn't let me film in store, because I didn't get permission ahead of time. I should have just done it, because I don't think anyone would have stopped me. But when I asked, then, you know, then their butt's on the line, so they had to say, do you have permission from corporate? So yeah, that was a long drive, but I made the best use of my time. They also sent their watercolor paper, which is very smooth. It's meant for use in mixed media with colored pencils, and I just started this one. I didn't get too far, but since I was doing Chroma Flow, I just wanted to show some of the mixing and blending, and yeah, I didn't get too far on this. I did work on it a little bit during the show, but that's from the Food Paint Challenge, and I will finish that up so I can post it on Instagram. And then on the, whenever I was drawing on the sketch papers, I would use a thick piece of craft cardstock in between my pages so I wouldn't dent the page underneath when I was drawing. And this is the gray and brown book from Five Below, which I know is so hard to find. I'm so sorry. I've recommended this a few times, and apparently they're sold out everywhere now. Now, I'm not saying it's because I recommended them. I'm just saying, you know, those are probably 2 unrelated factors, but I recommended them and now they're sold out. I'm not like inferring that I am the cause of it. So this was just a little montage I did, swatching out the colors and just sketching the dog and the lemons on my porch, and we have a little lemon tree, little pathetic tomato and some petunias, just playing with them. These are Chroma Flows. This I used that to demonstrate the vibrancy of the pencils, and also I used a clear blending marker from Derwent. Those are so popular. I wish I had them for sale, but actually Blick doesn't stock them, so they're on the Derwent website, and you can find them in some shops. It's really great. It's just an alcohol-based marker, clear marker, and it really makes the colors pop because it breaks up the wax and blends the colors together really nicely. And these were just some random dogs I sketched. So yeah, I was really nervous and really kind of freaking out as I was getting ready for this, that I'm like, oh my gosh, everything I'm drawing is awful. Nobody's going to listen to me. Oh yeah. And I also did, Oh, that was something else. That was drawing on the way back after I went to Jerry's and I bought some other random pencils. I drew these hands on the way down, and I got this one colored in. I put too much pigment on it, and when I added the blender marker, it kind of made a mess. But then I went much lighter with the Derwent drawing pencils in these hands. And I just put it away on those while I was in the car, while I was at the show, and then in the car a little bit more. And I really like how that came out. I think that's kind of fun. I love to draw hands anyways. They're a good challenge. And yeah, I was playing with another pencil, a couple pencils I picked up at randomly at a store, and that was fun. So let's get on to the sample artwork I brought. This is all done with Derwent products, and I just wanted to have this, they're going to glare a bit, so I'll have to hold this like this. And most of these have tutorials on my YouTube channel. If I get a chance to link them down below, I will. If I don't, just, you can Google Derwent and my name and this should come up. This was, we did a live class for this, I think I did a live stream on my channel of this, and then I did a time lapse for Derwent on this one. I have some of these are educational things that I did in a combination through Derwent and Blick for the North American Art Educators Conference a few years ago in 2023, I think. So yeah, I've had a great relationship with Derwent over the years. These are also ChromaFlow projects. That's on craft paper. This is on gessoed, clear gessoed scrap of mat board. Love doing that. It gives such a vibrancy to colored pencils. There's a Michael's class on both of these, a free Michael's class, so you'll be able to find those if you want to on the Michael's YouTube channel. There's also a free class on this propeller one. I did it last year, and there's a Blick class on this. It's kind of more done for kids. It's a to use graphitin for fossils, to make fossil type artworks. These are Derwent drawing, some life drawing studies. This garlic is a free class over on the Michael's. I have a time lapse on my channel, I think, and the class is over on Mike. I know the real-time class is on Michael's. I don't know if I did a time lapse of this or not. These, I think that's either a Blick or a Michael's class. I'm pretty sure this is a Michael's class. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there are videos for both of those. These were all done with Light Fast. These are on Stonehenge paper, and this is on pastel mat, and I've learned something about myself, and that's I do not like using colored pencils on pastel mat. I love the way it looks. I love the results, but it takes so long. And this is all this background is the color of the pastel mat because I'm using that color. It takes so long to finish something on this because it takes so many layers, but beautiful results. I do recommend that if you're patient, and of course, so long means 3 hours. Not so long. A lot of colored pencil artists would be like, they're doing these gorgeously rendered things and taking days, and no, a couple hours is my max. But I think I did a video of one of these flowers. I didn't do the whole thing, but I do believe I have a video of one of these flowers. I might have a video on that because I also did this in Prismacolor. I did one in Prismacolor and one in Light Fast because I was just curious to see the difference in the look. They both worked great with both, but I think I got more details with the Light Fast because they're a little bit firmer. That was me testing, and I do have a video for this, but I was testing out the Light Fast set of 12 because I bought the 12 set because I wasn't sure if I wanted to buy the full set or not. After using that 12 set on a few illustrations, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. I definitely want to get the full set. So then I waited for a sale, found a great price on Amazon. I grabbed the 72 set, and then Blick had a sale on the single pencils like about a year later, and I bought up the remaining colors I didn't have. So yeah, that's a lot of Derwent products I've personally purchased like well before I had a relationship with them, which is really kind of fun when a company reaches out to work with you who you were a fan of anyway, you know. These were both done with Inktense. This was Inktense block, that was Inktense pencil. There's a video of this on my YouTube channel, maybe on the Michael's one, and there is a time lapse of this on my channel. And there's either a video or a PDF on the Blick website on the Art Educators section. This was a Michael's class using the pastel pan paints. And this was a Michael's class using the Inktense pencils. And all the Michael's classes are free. They're free on their YouTube channel. I don't know if they're still on their website. You might just have to go to the YouTube channel and like search Derwent or Lindsay Weirich. Either of those should make them pop up. Oh, got an eraser booger on there. That was a Michael's class, a free Michael's class. I think there's a time lapse on my channel. This was for I have a time lapse on my channel, and it was for the Blick Educators project, I think. And that was with graphitin, and this is graphitin and Inktense pan paints. Actually, it's the line and wash set that has a couple pastels, a couple Inktense and a couple Graphitints, so it's kind of like they're all together. So you could totally get that. The line and wash, that would be great. I guess for some reason I didn't make a line and wash tag, and when I was labeling these like the day before I had to leave, and time was of the essence. This was ChromaFlow and pan paints. This was pastel pencils, and both of these were done on gessoed matte board. So you got that nice vibrancy of color. And this one's a free class and a time lapse, and I think that's a time lapse on my channel. This is a free Michael's class of this fountain. I think I have a time lapse on my YouTube channel. And this is Inktense pan paints. And look how opaque the white is. This is Inktense block, same formulation as the pan paints. Just depends on what way you like it. Do you want to dip a brush, or do you want to be able to pick up a stick and dip a brush? So I think the blocks are more versatile, but if you are more of a clean painter and you want things a little more tidy, the pan paints might be a better choice, although there's only 24 in the pan paints and there's 72 in the blocks. And let me tell you, 72 is fine. I don't feel like they need to expand the Inktense range, although I'll have to say a few people came up to me at the trade show and said, when are they going to expand the drawing range, because we want more colors. And it's like, well, you could go to the light fast range if you want more colors in that kind of iteration of pencil. They're not the same formulation, but they do marry well together. This was Inktense pencil, and I believe this is a set from the set of 12. These are Inktense pan paints, and this was from a class I did with Sketchbook School. And these also are from that same class in Sketchbook School called Yummy Color. And I don't know if they do, I don't know if you can purchase past classes, because it was a live class. Like I submit, you edit everything, you get it ready, then you submit that to them, but then you're there for the live class answering questions and things like that. So it was kind of a neat format, and it was in high quality, which was really nice. This was for that Blick educator compilation. I think I have a time lapse on my channel, and there's a PDF on Blick. This, I think I did a video of this, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure I did though. I would search, if any of these are interesting to you, just search the name in the on my channel. Just search like mushrooms, Lindsay Weirich, Derwent, or whatever. I did not do a video of this. This was just in my sketchbook. It's not that great, but I just thought it showed the range of colors pretty well, so I grabbed it. I also got the charts, because I thought, you know what, this is Colored Pencil Society of America. They're going to want to know how light fast this stuff is, and they're not going to want to be looking up the Derwent website on their phone and trying to zoom into the color charts. So I brought a color chart for all their products, and especially the ChromaFlow. I wanted to make sure I had that because that's what we were demonstrating, and I wanted them to see how light fast the range was, and that way they could know, what size set do you want to invest in? Do you want to pick and choose open stock? What, I think it's great that people have the options to get what's going to serve them well, because if you buy a full set and you're going to pull out the non-light fast pencils to never use them again, it may be cheaper that way because you save money in sets, or it may be cheaper to do open stock. And I think that having the information, it's not bad to have the information on hand that customers want. I don't want to say anything that is untrue. So I'm a stickler for when I'm representing a product that I know it as well as I can, and that I'm not saying any falsehoods about it, because I've heard some salespeople saying some stuff, and I don't agree with it. There was a salesperson from Karen Dosh who was saying that you could color, and I'm hearing this secondhand. A person came over to me to my booth from after a demo at Karen Dosh, and they were told that if they go over any non-light fast pencils, like Prismacolor, for instance, with the Karen Dosh light fast pencils, then it would make everything permanent and light fast. But I don't think that's so, because you can't. So they're like, so I could just get the blender and I can color over my whole thing with a blender and it will make it light fast. And it's the pigments that make it light fast, not the medium, because I mean the medium will offer some protection, but it's not. Alizarin Crimson will eventually fade in oil and acrylics, just not as fast as it will in watercolor or pastel, because it's got a little protection from the binder, but it's the pigment. So I don't want to mislead anyone ever when it comes to art supplies. So and I'm not, well, yeah, I guess I am kind of calling that out, because I don't think that's right. I don't think that's true. But just like UV spray can help and UV glass can help your work last longer, but it's not going to last as long as using light fast pigments. And I want people to know if something's light fast or not, so people can avoid the ones that are like 3s and 2s and 4s and get the ones that are 6 and above to make sure their work lasts. Like the drawing pencils are very light fast. They're all 8s except for Ink Blue is a 7, so very light fast products. And yeah, so I just wanted to flip through that so you could see what I brought for demonstration, what I worked on, the things I worked on while I was there, and the things I brought to showcase the rest of the range, because I knew people would have questions. And like, I'm always kind of thinking, how could I do better? How could this be better for the customer, for the viewer? And I think, I think it would be good to have small sets of everything and then let people swatch it out, try it out, and then see what's going to suit them best. At least everything that was going to be available for sale, because there was a big light fast display and people were very interested in that. And I didn't have those to demonstrate. I could talk about them because I was familiar with them, but they couldn't put them in their hands and try them out, which I thought was kind of a bummer. But I didn't think of it. And obviously I was there to promote 3 different products. So I wanted to, do what I was paid to do, but also give as much information as I can so people get the product that's right for them. And hopefully everyone's happy with that. On the drive down, we stopped at Blick, and I asked them if I could film the store, which I should have just done it and not asked, and they said I couldn't without permission from corporate. So when I went to Plaza the next day, I didn't ask, and I figured if anyone tells me I can't film, then I won't post it. But I guess it's better to apologize later and not ask for permission. Is that how the saying goes? They had a great selection of a lot of stuff here. It was a very spacious store. The aisles were wide. It kind of reminded me of like a Michael's, where you have those really wide aisles. I thought that was really nice. It was well stocked. It was clean. It was pretty brightly lit, but it seemed like the lights were over the top of the shelves and not over the aisles. So in some areas it was a little harder to see than it could have been, I thought. But as you can see from the footage, it was plenty bright. A good selection of Winsor & Newton products, good selection of Holbein products. I was really interested in looking at the watercolors. The Daniel Smith watercolors in every store we went to were locked up, which I thought was probably at first I thought it was like, wow, those must be high theft items. But then I thought maybe it's how the Daniel Smith displays come. I love these mini pads of paper because it lets you try stuff out without committing to a big pad. And then it's not intimidating to use them, right? And they're perfect ATC sizes. Oh, and I have to show you my favorite color from Sennelier, which is their olive green, which is so luminous. Look at that. It's sold out, but I have a tube of that at home in the 21 ml size. It's so glorious. And there's their sap green. Their sap green's really quite dull compared to their olive green. That's almost like my favorite sap green like color, and I will risk having it in my portable painter, even though Sennelier is honey based and it will just ooze if you're not careful out of the pans in humid conditions. But it's worth it for that olive green color because it's just so radiant. Here you can see the selection of Winsor & Newton watercolors. They had both pans and tubes of the professional, and they had some Cotman. And then you've got, your koi sets, your pan sets, acrylic inks, just kind of your basic art store fare, I would say, but just more brand choices than I would get in, say, Lil Bangor, Maine. We have a Michael's in Bangor, Maine, so much better selection than that. I love looking at the markers. I almost grabbed a couple of these Chart Pack ad markers, but I have a feeling that they may be discontinued. And honestly, I think that they're the same as the Blick markers, and they have a little more odor than other alcohol markers that I've used. So in the end, I decided not to buy any of them, especially if they're hard to find, because they are hard to find. I've looked them up online before when people have been curious about them, thinking I might buy a set to review, but they're hard to find, so I decided that I wasn't going to go for them. I did buy a couple Carpenter's pencils because they had these General's Carpenter's pencils on clearance for $1. I bought a 2B and a 6B. They had a ton of them. I do have a 6B at home that I just picked up, but I figured for $1 I'd buy an extra to throw in my travel bag. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with graphite. And I like having a big wide nib. I would usually sharpen them with a knife, but my husband has one of those carpenter pencil sharpeners. So I think I might do one with a knife and one with a carpenter's sharpener to see what I like better. And maybe that will be a video. You can let me know if you're interested. They had a really good selection of oil. Actually, every store I went to had a good selection of oil paints. And let me tell you, am I glad I didn't get rid of any of my oil paints when I did the big oil paint reorganize. I ended up taking a bunch of my old oil paints and making oil sticks out of them, and I'm so glad I did. And every store I went to, I asked for the new R&F drawing oils because I've had several reviews to requests to review them, and I want to try them. I don't want to buy a bunch of them because I make my own oil sticks, and I'm really happy with them, but I would definitely like to buy like 4 of them and just try them. I want to get like a primary, a triad, and a white. So I'll probably just have to order them online at Blick because they have them in stock and the price is good. But I thought for sure I'd be able to buy them at the Blick store and they didn't have them. And maybe that could be because they were a smaller store. So pastels, I love the pastel aisle. I love the colored pencil aisle. They didn't have a huge selection of colored pencils. This is what I ended up buying, these pan pastel palette trays. And oh my gosh, I saw prices change in real time at the store. So the pan pastel trays they're 20 pan trays, and I thought I started off with the 10 pan trays because when I first started buying pan pastels, I bought the primary colors. I bought a magenta, a turquoise, and a yellow, and I liked them so much that I bought because the best price that I found was on the mixed media kits by Donna Downey, I think. So I bought those 2 kits, and they came in 10 trays, and so I bought a couple extra 10 trays, and I was using those. Then I'm like, oh, then I bought the painting set, which is all the pure colors. Anyway, it was just a big snowball, and I ended up going to the 20 trays. And here we've drove a few more hours, and we've gone to Jerry's Artarama. And I have to say, this was my favorite store we went into because it feels like old. It feels old. Everything is just like packed in there. The drawing selection was so good. I actually picked up some of the mega colored pencils. I picked up like 5 in earth tones so I could just kind of play with those to decide whether I want to buy more or not. They had great prices in here, and if you join the VIP club, you got 10% off everything, not just their branded stuff. I had a request to try their Italian Mangani, I think it's called Mangani paper from Italy. It's 100% cotton, and it's a new addition to their range. I think they're the only ones selling them in the United States, so I did buy a 5-pack of paper for $26, but then then I got $2.60 off, so it was like $23. I got 5 sheets of 100% cotton watercolor paper, 22-inch by 30-inch, so I couldn't resist. I may regret not buying the hot press as well, but I figure hopefully I can order them for about the same price online. But I was excited to try that. They had an excellent selection of canvas, both stretched canvases and the bars, and like canvas by the rolls and the bolt if you wanted to go that way. Great selection of paints. Oh my gosh, I just love the way the store was laid out. I felt like it was a treasure hunt because there was so much stuff packed in there. I really had to hold myself back not to buy these huge tubes of Winsor & Newton watercolors. And I didn't because honestly, I'm quite happy with the Da Vinci 37 ml tubes when I need them for classes and stuff. And I didn't want to make a rash decision there, but that it looks like they were probably getting rid of the 37 ml tubes in store. But that's a lot of watercolor paint to go through, honestly, if you're not teaching a class. They had some, art instruction books. They just had a little bit of everything. And I kept finding myself pulled back to the drawing section. Oh yeah. Look at those big chunky pencils. That color was so pretty. But in the end, I'm like, I'm just going to buy a few earth tones to see if I like these pencils before I splash out. And I did. And so I'm going to use them. I'm going to make myself sharpen them at least a couple times, like use them enough to sharpen them a few times before I decide to buy more. But look at the pencils. They're just so temptingly arranged. I have to say the staff in every store was just excellent. And yeah, highly recommend all these stores. If you get a chance to go to a Blick, a Jerry's, or a Plaza Art in person, go. Just go. You won't regret it. There's so many treasures to be had, and there's something about smelling the supplies and seeing them and holding them in your hands. And yeah, I just can't recommend it enough. I bet you're curious about what I got while I was on the trip because we went to 3 different art stores. We went to Blick, where I couldn't film, and we went to, which I'm sure if I asked ahead of time to the corporate, they would have let me, but I made the mistake of asking a person working there, and first he said yes, and like, wait, I ought to check, and the manager was like, oh, we can't, we need like permission from corporate, and I don't think anyone would have stopped me if I was doing it, but since I asked, you know, the boat was on the line, so I had no shade at Blick whatsoever. So the first thing, while I was there, a few viewers actually saw Sat Chat last week and were in the DC area and came over. The retreat was in Bethesda. Laura stopped by and she was like, I found this paper on Amazon. It's I think she said you get 3 for $20 or something. And she says, it's great. I want you to review it. It is so good. And I couldn't believe the price. So this is 100% pure cotton, aquarelle, watercolor block. Obviously acid free because it's cotton, cold press, high erasability, super absorbent cotton paper. This is crazy. This looks familiar. It looks like some Artisto paper. Now it's called Artistic Eye because they had to change their name because it was too close to somebody else's name, I guess. So I'm really curious. I'm really curious about this. I will review this. So thank you, Laura, for this gift. She also brought one for my friend Karen, who drove me down to the retreat. She didn't let me drive at all. I was like, I will drive. Would you like me to drive? She's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. So she has ridden with me before, to be fair. But she was just awesome. The vertical video at the front of this video, she took a lot of that vertical video for me, and took some reels for me and stuff while I was working, because it was nuts busy until just like at the end. That's when I went around and got a little bit of video, where I went around and zoomed. One of the booths had packed up already, and I was just trying to get some video before it was all packed up, because it went so fast. It was so busy. So the first store I went to was Blick, and I didn't do too bad. Honestly, I didn't go crazy. I'm really surprised because I've never been into any of these stores before, but I love Sennelier oil pastels, and I grabbed these little sets. They were on sale for $10 each. And I actually saw these in France, and I was going to buy them in France, but the ladies that were on the art retreat with me, they nabbed them all up before I came back and made my decision. And I'm like, I've got plenty. I don't need to be bringing home more art supplies. So, you know, they can have at it. But I kind of was bummed that I didn't buy those sets. And I think they've done more of these little sets, but these were the only ones I had, and they were all on Manager's Special for $10. So I thought, why not? I'll give them a try. I already know I like this product. Look at those colors. And I have the 24 just assorted basic set, so I might have some doubles, but I'm sure I don't have all doubles. And even if I do, I mean, oil pastels can wear down pretty quickly, so I won't be sorry if I have doubles. I love these so much. I recommended these to my sister. She was curious about them, and we had gone to a demo at Arts and Craftsman Supply that my friend Shanna Rowe Jackson was doing, and she was hemming and hawing looking at the oil pastels, the assorted set of oil pastels, but she couldn't justify it because they were pretty expensive, and she wasn't really into oil pastels yet, but she thought she'd like them, and so I bought her the landscape set. That's what she wanted, the landscape set, and then a smaller assorted set. But I thought this was an unbelievable price. I mean, because that's less than $2 a pastel, and I already know I love them. The quality is top notch and very light, fast product. I don't have to worry about my stuff lasting. I really enjoy using oil pastels, so I got those. So there's $30 down. You can keep track if you want. I'll keep track next April. This was actually, I had viewers request that I review the Utrecht gouache a couple times, and then I was curious. I'm like, you know what? This set was $42. I didn't know if it was 40 or 42 because it was two prices there. And oh my gosh, I got a funny story to tell you when we get to the Plaza haul. But I think probably they put new tags up and didn't take all the old tags down. So anyway, when I paid, it was $42. I'm like, I still think that's a fair price for 8 tubes, 14 ml tubes of gouache. I hope it's good. And because I was just going to buy like primary colors, but then I was like, well, those are like $6 to $8 or $6 to $10 a piece. So for $30 or so for 3 or 4, I might as well just spend $42 and get 8 colors. And plus, I like their other basic set, the set of 6 didn't have that magenta. I really love to have a magenta and a turquoise. I like a split primary, and this is a split primary plus white and black, so I thought that would be a really good option for doing a review. So I bought these. Thank you for suggesting that. And I'm like, hey, you know, 40 bucks. That's that's expenses for a video, $42. That's not bad. And then I picked up this. It is powdered marble dust. And it was funny because I bought this and I took a picture of what I bought and sent it to Angela Clark and Shannon Rowe Jackson. We're all friends. We're all kind of in this little chat group, and we're like, we're the therapy group. We're always joking. We all have very good wellness now, because now that we've been friends. And then a couple hours later, Angela sends me a reel. She's like, or maybe it was Shannon, like, look at this. Blick just posted a reel of this product. They knew that you bought it and you're going to make it sell out. I had to laugh. I'm like, I'm sure they didn't. But yeah, I want to take this and mix it with acrylic paint and gesso some boards and canvases with it and papers with it to use with pastel, basically. I like to make my own pastel grounds because sanded pastel paper is so expensive. I have the clear gesso that I can use over like matte board scraps, but if I have a canvas panel or I have like a wooden board, actually a wooden panel board is so nice, then I can make a really great surface for colored pencil pastel or oil pastel. And I was curious about it. It's just a staple product. It's not going to go bad. Marble dust, it's not going to change. It's been around here for billions of years. So it was 4 pounds for $10. I thought, that's not bad. And then we hit that store on the way down. I'm so glad we did, because we needed a break from all that driving. And then we got back in the car and we headed on from New Jersey to Bethesda, Maryland. We got into the hotel about 9:30, I think. We checked in, grabbed a bite to eat, and we went to bed. And then the next day we did the trade show demo, and you saw that. It was so funny because I didn't have a lot of information about the trade show, so I didn't know if I was going to, like, the NEAA trade show we did a couple of years ago was huge. It was 2 floors. It was like a floor of education demos, and then there was a whole floor that was just like a showroom where you can buy stuff from all these different vendors. And I didn't know if it was going to be something like that. I figured not that big because it was just colored pencils and not like it wasn't going to have ceramics and tempera and brushes and all those things that you would do in like a K through 12 arts program. So I figured it would be a smaller show. But it was, and I thought maybe it was booths for each vendor, each like, like Derwent, Faber-Castell, Royal Talons. But it was one big booth that was Blick selling all the materials. And then it was the demos, the smaller table, the smaller areas where people were demoing. So it was like a 6-foot table. So it was a little bit different than what I expected, but I was kind of glad that I was able to see it, because I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to see anything in that 4 hours. I'm going to be in the Derwent booth and that's it. But I did get a chance when there was a lull towards the end to zip around and get some video, which I was really thankful for, because it's nice to see that stuff too. So I was kind of bummed at first. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get to see it, but I actually did. But Karen luckily grabbed video too at the beginning, the vertical video where things were a little bit fresher and fully stocked. Things were kind of sold through in some instances towards the end, but I think they did a good job anticipating stock. There was still plenty of stuff at the end. So after that, we went to Plaza in Bethesda, Rockville, which was in a strip mall, and it was a nice big store. It was very well organized, but I got to tell you something. Prices were changing when we were there. So I got there and I saw they had the big pan pastel trays. So I started off with the smaller trays, because I thought, well, that's good. Because I started off with a magenta, a yellow, and a cyan or turquoise pan pastel. That's what I started with. And then, ooh, I like those a lot. So then I found the Donna Downey sets were on sale. I think that's who it was. She had 2 mixed media sets, and they were on sale, and I bought those 2. And they came in these smaller palettes. And I'm like, okay, great. This is great. This is a nice size. It fits on my desk. And then I went down the rabbit hole. I bought the painting set. And then that's 20 colors. It's like, well, maybe I'll get a 20 color palette, because that's cheaper than getting 2 of the smaller ones. And then I like that size. So I bought the larger palettes for the other 3 kind of basic sets, so you'd end up with all the colors. And then I got the expansion set that came with some of these. And I thought, I think I want to take the things out of the smaller sets, fill these up, and then just use the smaller palettes for pulling colors when I'm doing a project, so I can just have a couple of these smaller pieces. These are my backup colors. A couple of these smaller pieces on my desk with the colors, so I don't get overwhelmed and it doesn't take up all my space. I have one of these that are for like that I have my metallics or iridescence in. Because they have more than just your standard colors, and they also have mediums, which, oh yeah, these are the mediums that I have in here, the extenders, the coarse mediums, the iridescent mediums, different things like that, and metallics. Metallics and iridescents are different sets. So the metallics and iridescents I use more for like crafting, card making projects, and the solids I use more for painting projects. So I got those. These are $12.50 a piece, and I'm like, that's a really good deal. I think that's less than Blick. And then so I grabbed 2 of these, and then when I went up to pay, it was it had gone up to, it was like $13.95 or something like that. And so I'm like, well, maybe I misunderstood that. So I went over, no, I looked at the price, and so I took a picture of it and I went back up and I'm like, this was priced wrong. And but you know what, on the tag, both the list and the sale price had changed in the course of probably the last couple of days. And then there was something else. The other thing I bought was the same story. It was this odorless mineral spirits here. My friend Angela had like half a jug of this left, and it couldn't, even though it's odorless, the fumes bothered her. And so she asked me if I wanted it because I needed some odorless mineral spirits for making oil sticks. I made a bunch of handmade oil sticks. I have a video of it on my channel. They work fabulous. And so she gave me what she had, and we're always trading materials in this group. It's funny. And this was like $13 at Plaza. And I'm like, I know it's like $14 at least online at Blick. So I grabbed it, and when I went up, it was 14 something. And so again, I took the picture, and the list price, they had the list at 15 and their price at 13, and their new tag was like, the list was 17 and their new price was 15. So prices on everything, those three things I bought had gone up about $1 in price, maybe a little bit more. I also got a couple more of these General's Carpenter pencils. They were on clearance for $1. They're just fun to throw in your sketching bag because they have really, there's a 2B and a 6B. They just got big soft leads. And my husband lent me his sharpener for those, so I can use a knife too, but I know I scared everybody with my knife use in last week's sketchbook video. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Now, at every place I went to, I asked for the R&F drawing oils. I just want to buy 4 colors of the R&F drawing oils so I could test them out, because I've had several people ask me to review them and they're brand new. So I thought that would be great just to try them out. I don't really need to invest in the whole set because I make my own oil sticks and they work fabulously. So I just want to test it because people have asked me to test it in the community. And I figured if a few people are asking me, then probably more people are interested in it. So it'd be a good video to do. But nobody had them in stock. So that was a real bummer because I really wanted to get them. And also nobody had the Posca pastels in stock. I was like the crayon-y pastels in stock, and I wanted to see them in person and maybe buy them, but nobody had them. And then the last place I went, which actually was my favorite shop out of the 3. Now, granted, it was a small Blick, so I have nothing to compare it to. The Blick actually reminded me a lot of a Michael's, because it was so clean, so organized, so uniform, I think. Probably like different size stores carry different products depending on, like, they probably carry the most popular products. And then as they get bigger, they can carry lesser and lesser popular products. But my favorite, and probably because it looked it looked like it'd been there for a long time. I don't think it has, but it looked kind of old, and it was like a scavenger hunt, but it was organized enough. I just really liked the way it was the Blick, not the Blick store, the Jerry's Artarama in Delaware. And there's no sales tax in Delaware. Way to go, Delaware. I appreciate that. So there's no sales tax. I was so excited for that. And then I signed up for the Jerry's VIP card, 10% off everything, not just like their brand, every single thing, your entire order, 10% off. I thought that was crazy because the prices were really good. I thought the prices were like what they were on the website, and then an extra 10% off, and you never get any percent off of any brand name. So I thought that was really cool. So I was talking about when we were going through the trade show footage about the Create a Color, Mega Color pencils, and I've been curious. They've been in my save for later cart forever, but I just can't pull the trigger. So I bought a few colors. I bought and I swatched them out actually when I was on the ride home, and I'll show you. The color codes on the back are very bad, and I think they may be dye-based just because the leads don't look like the color, or maybe they're just really transparent. I'm not sure. But like, so this is that one. This is that one. This is that one. This is that one, and this is that one. But look, that one's all right, but still, that's more orange than that. But you know, if I can look at the lead and get an idea of what I'm going to get, but it's much lighter than what I'm expecting. This one was so far off because if you look at that lead, it looks so dark, but you color it out and it's more of like a burnt sienna color. It's called chestnut brown, and then this color is this almost looks like it's black, but it's a nice sepia color. But I just wanted something to kind of play around with. These are very soft. I just did those little sketches in the car without a reference. I did have a reference for that, but I just wanted to play around with it. And I scribbled off my blender marker here, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess on there. So I drew a couple just caramel candies out of my imagination. But yeah, I was just curious about these because I've had my finger on the buy button trigger of the 36 set. That's the biggest set it comes in. But it also comes open stock. And these were, I think, well, they were $2.89, and then I got 10% off of that. So minus 28 cents. I did see, I think I saw St. Louis Art Supply had these on sale for like $2.29 a piece. But the set prices are about the same on Blick or Amazon. And I'm going to consider it, because I mean, I could always throw these in a plein air bag and have the full set at home. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to play with them. I've at least got to sharpen them a few times and use them that much before I commit to buying a big pack. This was $13. These are leads, and I have a lead holder that will fit them. So I've been thinking about these, and I think I saw them at Blick and they were like $15. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I was pretty sure in store anyway, they were $15. And I know the prices in store at Blick are a little bit higher. But I thought these would be fun. I've really been getting into doing more drawing lately, keeping things a little simpler. Even during World Watercolor Month, I feel like I got faster at drawing, and that was like my favorite part of every piece, I think, was just the drawing it out. So it's a nice variety. Let's see how these actually swatch out, because I'm curious. This is going to be such a long video. I hope you guys are up for it. Now I tell you, well, I guess you could see the time. You can see the timestamp. I'm going to be very gentle because I don't want to break these. They're a chalk, kind of like a Conte, but not very dusty. I love that sanguine color. Ooh, that's a rich dark brown. That's nice. Oh, that's a nice black. That's an even darker brown. And then we have a graphite stick, a 4B graphite stick. Oh, that's smooth. So I had the little lead holders for these. I'm gonna use them with that so I don't snap them. But I just thought that would be really kind of fun. Kind of fun to play with. Probably didn't need them. I'm sure I'm gonna like them. But I mean, yeah, I didn't get anything too crazy. It would have been a more expensive trip had they had the drawing oils in stock. But even though I was only going to buy a few, unless it was like some really fantastic set. But the sets I'd seen, actually the sets I'd seen were sold out, and they weren't the colors I would have chose, I think. I don't know. I maybe have not seen all the sets too. This was neat. This was a little mini pad collection. And you get sketch paper, tracing paper, Bristol, marker, and canvas, the Soho brands, the Soho line from Jerry's. And they're artist trading cards. They're artist trading card size. So I thought, how fun is that? You know, like the tracing paper especially, because you could do something on the Bristol and then like sew the tracing paper over top and like stamp on that or something. I just thought it'd be fun. And then, you know, canvas paper for acrylic, little tiny acrylic paintings, or with acrylic markers. That would be great because everyone's got the acrylic markers now. So that's a great way to use them. A little artist trading card. And then marker paper, which also could probably be used kind of in the same way as a tracing paper, kind of thin. But yeah, I couldn't resist for like $3 and something. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice little impulse buy. An impulse buy, but you know, I tend to go for those smaller little papers before I go for a big paper. Don't you do that? You go for the smaller pieces first because, you know, you don't want to waste a big piece. You just want to test something out. They were giving these away for free, a little water bottle with oh, I didn't even know it had a carabiner on it. That's nice. I can hook that right to my plein air bag with water for drinking and for painting with. BPA free. Oh, that's really cute. They're like, yeah, take as many as you want. I took one. Karen's much more considerate than I am. She grabbed 2 extra ones, one for Shanna and Karen and Angela. So, and they had free pins. I didn't see those, but she grabbed one for everybody too. So yeah, she's much more considerate than me. This was free for signing up for the VIP thing. It's an Art Alternatives mixed media sketchbook, 95-pound, acid-free white paper with a medium tooth. It looks nice. I mean, and you're not going to worry about what you make on it because it was free. I don't know what it costs typically, what they sell it for. Oh, maybe they don't because it's got the Jerry's. Oh, that's the Jerry's I went to if you want to look at that. Newark, Delaware. Great little store. It just reminded me like of the old art supply stores you go to as a kid back when there were old art supply stores around. Kind of like Barry Stationery in Oakland. But the prices were just phenomenal. And this is my favorite. I think this is a favorite thing I bought. These are Mungio jumbo oil pastels, and I've seen these on the Jerry's website, but I hadn't I hadn't pulled the trigger. It's like, I want to see them. I want to see how jumbo they are, because sometimes looks can be deceiving. I know, like those Sennelier pastels, look how tiny. I mean, when I first got my Sennelier pastels, I'm like, these are so tiny. They're like the size of my pinky finger, and I don't have big hands. They're so tiny, and that's what I thought when I first got them. So I'm like, I want to see these in person, you know. And so I'll show you. This was $17.99, I think. Well, actually, 10% less than that. $1.70 less than 17 or 18. So it's probably what, around 15 something? Look at this. Aren't these pretty? Let me grab some black paper. Let's swatch those out. Oh my gosh, this is the longest video ever. Yeah, I thought this was such a cool set. I've been thinking about these for a while, and I was glad. We don't need to swatch them all. We'll swatch a few. I mean, I plan on reviewing these. Oh, look at the iridescent. Oh my gosh, very buttery. Let's do a pink. Mungio, I like Mungio products. Now I'm sure these don't have, that one doesn't feel that great. That one feels a little hard. Let's try a white. White is a good one to test. I'm usually not working on black for oil pastels, but it's nice to see how opaque they are. That's nice and opaque. Little, not much odor at all, actually. I would say they're not like the Mungio soft oil pastels. They're firmer than the soft oil pastels, which is not bad, especially on a big pastel and you're trying to cover like a bottom layer and then you're going to go over it. Like my Paul Rubens pastels are very soft. The Sennelier pastels are very soft. They're like the top layer type of pastel. Oh, they don't really have much color. That one doesn't have much color on the black. But I use the Senneliers more as like the final layer because they're so soft. But yeah, I hope I like these. I can't be too picky for $17.99, or what did I pay, 15 something. They're definitely hard, more of a hard pastel. I don't think as hard as a Pentel, but you know what? Those Pentels are so little. So if I'm doing a base layer, these are going to be much better to use than the Pentels, because the Pentels will you wear them away so quickly. They're cheap, but you know, they're much smaller. They're probably like a quarter or a fifth of the size of this. So yeah, I'm happy with this. That's going to be good for those bottom layers, and I'll probably just keep them right in these trays because that's perfect. Oh my gosh, yeah, I like the packaging. So yeah, oh, I did get one more thing, and this was something that a viewer asked me to review. I mean, I can't buy everything that everyone asked me to review, but I try to go for things that are either brand new and there's not a lot of reviews out there already, and I'm also personally interested in them, because if I buy something I don't think I'm going to like, just because somebody asked me to review, and there's other reviews out there for it, that doesn't seem like it's a really good use of my funds. But if it's something that's new that I'm really interested in trying, absolutely. That's the stuff I want to review. This paper, they had this in hot press and cold press, and I have 5 22-inch by 30-inch sheets, so perfect for making sketchbooks. And actually, I might make a sketchbook out of this because that's a great way to test out the paper. I'll see how well it holds up. This is made in Italy, Magnani paper, and Jerry's Artarama did a live stream of this paper with the with one of the people that make the paper a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago or so, and it was very intriguing. So I was really excited about this. This was let's say it was $26, and then I got the 10% off, so it was probably more like $23. And you got 5 sheets, and I may regret not buying the hot press. I may regret not buying more of this, but I do have plenty of paper. I don't need to be stockpiling paper, but I am really hoping this is good paper. And I don't know if they have this price online, but if they do, that's going to be amazing. If they don't, if you have a Jerry's near you, then they had like these were set up by the canvases. We might see that might show in the video. I think I showed where that was in the video, but it was just like in a cardboard stand-up box. I don't know if that's an introductory price or whatnot, but yeah, I nabbed it, and I may regret not getting more, but honestly, I need to be honest with Fantasy Lindsay. You don't paint enough to justify buying multiple packs of 22-inch by 30-inch paper. But for court classes, but I'm not doing, the only in-person classes I'm doing currently that I planned are overseas retreats, and those papers get shipped there by Uptruck, so I don't need to be shopping around for that here. So that's what I got. That's what I bought. Yeah, I didn't go too crazy, I don't think. I mean, yeah, a little bit. But I mean, when you're driving, I can't believe that not only did I go 11 hours halfway across the country, well, on the East Coast. I did not realize how far away Maryland was, to teach for 4 hours or to demo for 4 hours. I roped a friend into joining me. That's a story. That's the stuff memories are made of, though. We had a great time. I did anyways. She said, if Karen says she had a great time, I hope that's the case. I'm going to link to her channel down below because you can check out what she bought. She's going to post a haul of her purchases as well. And I just thank her from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this crazy artsy adventure, because not many friends would do that. I don't think, just like, sure, I'll go with you. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, my friends are the type of friends that will do that, which, hey, could I be any luckier? I don't think so. Look what I get to do for a living. Look who I have for friends. I'm the luckiest person ever. So with that, I'm going to thank you so much for watching this long video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you go paint with your artsy friends and enjoy yourself. Make the most of it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Give me a thumbs up, please. Bye.